in the YouTube video as well, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Hello everybody, and welcome to the 5.8 tier list update. Before we get started into this tier list update, I do have a couple of quick things to say. In the last tier list update, I did say this one will be done on Tuesday the 15th. Well, I didn't preface that by saying that would be if the patch went ahead as expected, which would have been the previous Tuesday. As we saw, that didn't happen. They had to delay the patch a week, which meant that the tier list gets delayed in terms of its update, because I have no reliable data to back that tier list update on. So, from now on, make sure you take the next tier list updates with a grain of salt, as it really does depend on when the patch goes live. Another quick thing, and this is something which you do have to know specifically if you're watching on Twitch or watching tier list updates live, the tier list updates are going to be changing days. With the old way Hi-Rez did their patch system, you would have the patch notes on a Wednesday, you'd then have the patch the following Tuesday, and then it would go on to next week's Wednesday as the next patch notes. Meaning you had 8 days between the patch and then the patch notes, and then 6 days between the patch notes and the patch itself. And in that 8-day delay between the patch and the next patch notes, I could do a tier list update. The way they're doing it now is you have the patch going live on a Tuesday, and then have the patch notes that same Friday. Meaning you have a longer period for PTS, longer period to find bugs, fix them, and to test the changes. What that does mean is, if I do the same tier list update on that Sunday, there's going to be a bit of a conflict there, because I'll be influenced by the patch notes that happened on that Friday, and we don't want that. We want the tier list update to be specific to the patch that it's for, which obviously this one isn't going to be, but this is the only one that's not going to be. So from now on, patch notes are going to be updated on the Friday before the patch notes update stream, meaning it's going to be sometime in the morning. It could also be done on the Thursday evening if people would like that instead. I'm going to do a poll on Twitter after this update has gone live on stream. Make sure you do check it out. It's going to be running for a couple days, so quickly go over there. A link is going to be in the description to my Twitter account. Go there, vote on the poll, and I will do what's best for people. Still, let's get started. Few movements are going to be based upon the 5.8 patch, and a few movements are going to be based on the 5.9 patch notes, as I said earlier. And final note, this list, as always, is predominantly European-based meta. You're going to see most of these changes are going to be based around Europe. A couple of placements here are from North America, but predominantly this is a European tier list. So, let's get started with the first god, and that is going to be Thoth, going to move down slightly to S. Hasn't seen as much play as he has done recently, as teams develop strategies around him. He lost a lot of his power, he lost a lot of his strength as he did at the beginning of the season, and is starting to be more focused towards that mid-game role, which he really should be. Similar to Janus, but Janus has more mobility, more team-wide oriented kit than Thoth does. And I think that's really where you're seeing the strength of Janus over Thoth. And Thoth isn't really controlling games as he used to. He had one fantastic performance at LAN from Zyros against us, where he outputted like 68k damage compared to the next house, which was like 25k, which was fucking ridiculous. But aside from that, he's not bringing much else to the team. And right now, games are starting to be focused around that early game, that early pressure, that early invade. If teams don't mess up, they'll be able to then push forward and smother out the Thoth before he's able to come online and do his damage. That's going to be the only update to the S+. Terra and Janus still up there. Going to see how the nerf to Terra pans out before we potentially move it up or down. Most likely going to be down just a single tier if anything, but she's still at least S at the very least. Two changes to the S category. The first one is going to be Sobek, moving up to the S+ category. This is one of the changes to the tier list, which is going to be slightly influenced by the upcoming 5.9 patch. Biggest reason why is going to be those boots changes. CDR boots getting 15 more power means that Sobek has his clear online a tiny bit earlier, could do a bit more damage in lane. You can also opt in for the pen boots, but there's no reason to pick up pen boots anymore. Having the same amount of power on both the pen boots and the CDR boots, you gain mana, you gain CDR from the CDR boots versus just flat pen from pen boots. It's madness. Always get CDR boots in the next patch. 65 power is ridiculous. And you're going to be seeing a lot more Sobek because of it. He is probably the strongest solo laner right now, especially after the nerfs to Cullen, and we'll get into him a bit later. Other change is going to be Camazotz, going to be moving down all the way to a big fall from grace for the Batman. He brings damage, he brings a lot of it, but doesn't bring enough damage to warrant his lack of CC. Yes, he could still multi-role flex, he could still go solo, still go jungle, but why would you pick him? The reason he picked him into the solo lane was because he had great sustain. He lost some of his sustain. That got taken away. Some of it got taken away from him at the beginning of the... a couple of patches ago, sorry. And his jungle got hurt because it took away some of the damage. I forgot to turn off my notification sounds. Now taken care of. Thank you for reminding me. What was I? Oh yeah. And Camazotz, if you pick him, you're really forced into picking him rather than going, I think Camazotz is the best pick here, let's first pick him, which you used to. So, big fall of grace for the Batman. And that's going to be doing it for the S tier changes. On to S-, one change. S+ predominantly had 3 gods in it, it's going to have a 4th god, Serket. Really bouncing in between in the meta, and then out of the meta, and then into the meta again. She's fluctuating a bit, now she's firmly in the meta as the top jungler of choice. There's just pretty much no way to stop her. She is able to go into your backline, kill the enemy squishies as she likes. I really hope that they do a significant change and rework to Serket's ultimate, because, well, even a passive as well. Because right now she gains free damage. She doesn't have to build power for it, she can just build full tank and still output that same damage. If she builds damage, she is punished for doing so, which is not what you want to see an assassin. You want to see an assassin be rewarded for building damage and building as an assassin. While Serket, you build a tank to get rewarded, and then you're unkillable whilst you're killing the enemy squishies. And that doesn't really make too much sense. So I really do hope that in the future we do see a rework to the fact that Serket gets true damage on her ultimate, and the fact that Serket gets percent health taken off her target for how many poisons she got. I'd like to see them both transformed into physical damage abilities. Maybe take off a percentage of the enemy's health based on your physical power. And then for the ultimate, just change that straight to physical damage. Maybe give her a bit more damage to compensate for it, because she doesn't have to build into penetration. Don't forget, the Titan's Bane nerf benefits Serket, because she doesn't need to have that penetration to do that damage. It's nuts. She is probably top 2 god in the game along with Terra. Don't let the fact that they're not in order fool you. Serket and Terra are pretty much must bans across all regions at this rate. Now onto A+, we have a few gods here. As I said, we're going to be talking about Cullen. Cullen did get nerfed going into the 5.9 patch notes, and this is why I hate the fact that I had to do this tier list after the 5.9 patch notes came out, because he would have moved up otherwise. He would have moved up, 5.9 would have moved down, which is where he should be. But because I've got influence from the 5.9 patch notes, he is going to be staying in A+ for now. Most likely, if he didn't get the nerf that he received, would have gone up to S, maybe S-. Because he controlled the solo lane throughout the entirety of the LAN. They removed a lot of his early game prowess by taking off that 5 free power he gets. No longer going to be as dominant in that solo lane. Still going to do a lot of damage. Still going to do a lot of work in that solo lane. Still going to bring a lot of control. But for now, keeping him in A+, just to see where that nerf falls him in line with. Noir, going to be moving down to A+. Bit of an odd one, this one. But with Obsidian Shard getting nerfed in the next patch, that really hurts her ability to do what she is there to do, which is just ult, immediately kill a target, and win the fight because of it. When you don't have that percentage penetration hitting the squishies anymore, you're going to be doing less damage to them, therefore they're more able to fight into that fight. And the whole gimmick of Noir just falls apart because of it. Even with the Soul Gem, it's still not enough to warrant picking up the Noir, because outside of the ult, she does nothing in team fights. Ratatasker is going to be the next one. Going to be moving up slightly to S-. Really became a power pick during both the console and PC LAN. Mainly because he can buy his Acorn out of base. His early game strength is ludicrous. Whilst you're there with 20% movement speed, 50 power, the enemy jungler is still at boots 1. Or mace, depending on what they bought. You win that fight every single time. You're able to invade the first speed buff spawn if you wanted to. You're able to invade backup. He's able to invade blue buff. you get that advantage because you can stay out for a bit longer. You don't have to back to buy your boots. You then don't have to back to buy your crusher or your brawler's beatstick or whatever it is you're buying into second. You only have to back for the first time as you buy your second item because you've already bought your acorn once you're outside of base. And that key difference there is really what sets Ratatasker apart from other assassins. Not going to see him move above S- for now, as we only saw glimpses of that going into the LAN. We did see him picked up a couple times, didn't perform as well as he probably should have on some of the matches, but when he did perform, he performed extremely well. You never know, next patch he probably is going to be moving up, which is going to see where the changes do fall in line with, again. CERN is just seeing no play. Straight up, he's just seeing zero play right now. He doesn't bring a lot of damage, easily gets out pressured, and he falls down because of it. I really do hope they give a buff to Sonos, because I think he's a very interesting character to bring to a team fight scenario, and a team fight oriented draft. I think he's one of the best you can pick in the ADC position, but he just offers nothing in the laning phase and gets steamrolled because of it. If you're able to get him out of laning phase, sure, he's a great pick. But you have to literally camp him, which means that you're freeing up your mid to be ganked, you're freeing up your solo lane to get invaded. You want to be able to have your support or your jungler rotate around the map freely, gank where necessary rather than gank because they have to keep this CERN ahead, have to give him the pressure in the early game because he otherwise would just not be a thing. We'll do it for the A+ changes. One change coming out of A, and you probably know who it is. Your boy Guan Yu. Saw big changes to his passive, mainly, and this is why he's moving on. Not because of the basic attack changes. The basic attack changes mean nothing if you're wondering what they are. His third basic attack in the basic attack chain now is a cleave, and his fourth one now has 4 extra units to his range. Big deal. I don't care. What is a big deal is the fact that his passive, once fully stacked, will stay stacked whilst you're still in a fight. That's insane. Because every single ability that he has gets bonuses when he's fully stacked as passive. And I think that was overlooked when they gave him this change. Because having extra protection shred, extra slow, extra heal, and then another extra slow on his ultimate is mind-bogglingly insane. He brings so much control to a teamfight because of it. He is probably the best teamfight warrior in the game at this point because of it. He can play solo lane extremely well, he can play support extremely well. You don't really poke him out of lane anymore because his heal is supercharged all the time. The guy's insane. He gets so much protections back because of his Tallow Assault being buffed by his Pain as well. Guan Yu is insane, and I would not be surprised to see changes to his bonuses from his passive in later patches, because honestly, like I said, I feel it was overlooked. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe he'll stay at a roughly the same level of performance, maybe even go a tiny bit above, and he won't get changes at all. Won't see as much pro play as I'm anticipating, and S- is where he'll stay for a long time. I'm going to do for changes to the A tier. A-, we're seeing 3 changes to the A- tier, and that, spoiler alert, is going to do it for the tier list. Sorry, Upwash, those changes to you don't mean jack shit. They really don't. And B, you will still be needing everyone to be in the right roles, everyone to be in the right picks, to be useful. The 3 changes are going to be as follows. In fact, there's going to be 4 changes. I had a look, and I decided there's going to be another change. Mercury. Going to be that change. Going to move up to A. Saw some play during the LAN. Had some success. Once building crit, rather than building full movement speed. Simple, just a small nudge up because of the LAN performances that he had and the fact that he started to creep back into the meta. Built the 3 changes which I had lined up. Shibalonke! Making one of the biggest leaps. Going to be the second biggest leap we have in this tier list update. I believe you all know who's going to be the biggest leap. I talked about her at length last patch notes, and I'm not looking forward to having to talk about her at length again this patch note show. But Shibalonke moving up to S-. Why so? Changes to his passive, changes to his poison darts, really just allow him to be more consistent. Shibalonke's biggest weakness wasn't his laning phase, it was his consistency. You got a couple kills early, you were the best ADC to pick. If you didn't get any kills for the first 15 minutes, you were the worst ADC to pick. Now, he gets his passive irregardless whether he gets kills or not. He's based on player damage. They play aggressively, your branching maulers will target enemy gods over enemy minions because that's just what they do, that's what they're programmed to do, that's their priority target. So during laning phase, you are going to get free damage. By the time you're out of laning phase, you're probably going to have your passive fully stacked. If you get a couple kills, you're definitely going to have it fully stacked. And he's just insane because of it. Brings the best team fighting ultimate in the game. Darkest of Nights changes how you have to play a team fight, changes your entire comms. As a competitive player, that is unheard of. Triple Gate is insane right now, and the changes coming into 5.9, like I said, the Poison Darts change is huge for him, because he no longer loses as much damage. Before, if you were good enough with your timings, you could interrupt Poison Darts every single time, making he didn't have an ability. Now, he has those Poison Darts. He's going to get at least one off, and that one is going to give him increased damage, that one is going to give him a slow onto you. It doesn't bring as much CC as other hunters would do, say for example an Anhur or Hu Yi, but that doesn't matter. He brings raw damage, he brings so much damage. More than pretty much any other basic attack-based god. You're going to see him a lot in the coming weeks. Change to his passive in 5.9 where they increase the damage needed per stack by 500. Not going to change too much, just going to slow him down a tiny bit. Out of laning phase, you're probably going to have 4 stacks rather than all 6. If you get a couple kills, again, you're still going to have all the stacks, which is absolutely insane. 30 physical power for free is just unparalleled. Zhonghui, going to be moving up to A. Again, a slight change up because of the way his passive now interacts. You have to play less aggressive to get your stacks. You get the stacks from minute 1 rather than from the second or third wave, depending on how lucky you are in terms of how you level. And you're less punished for being out of position. You're less punished for dying. You're less punished for using a bad ultimate. Because you still keep some of the protections. You still keep some of that innate tankiness. I think Zhonghui is going to start to see a bit more prevalence in play. Not a whole lot. But he's going to start seeing more, especially in Ranked, where he's going to start seeing a fair bit more play. Especially with the boots changes. Look out for Zhonghui in Ranked. Maybe not so much if you have the tools to deal with him, which is pretty much any god that could shut down somebody who's immobile, like a Ymir. And the final change to this tier list, the biggest update we are doing, is going to be Aphrodite. Like I said, this is a European-based tier list, and it's showing. Aphrodite, the biggest jump I've ever done on a tier list. Holy shit, is she insane right now. 1 second cooldown on Kiss if you hit a friendly target. It's ludicrous. I remember back when she was the best support in the game, back in open beta, outside of Sun Wukong and Odin. I believe those two were the top 2 supports, because you just built warriors with damage in support. They would have innate tankiness because they were a jack of all trades, and master of all of them. But that's getting out of the conversation. Aphrodite, back then, had no cooldown on her kiss when kissing an ally, so you kiss somebody, they then go on somebody else because you kiss that target, you can immediately kiss them, ult them, and they're fine. Then they changed it, so I had 3 seconds. That pretty much took Aphrodite completely out of the meta. Incrementally, healers have been getting buffs, she's been getting buffs, she's been getting a bit of damage here, a bit of healing there. Recently got the ability to use her ultimate while she is knocked up, which means that she can then save allies even though she is knocked up. And then the latest change, even though she started seeing play, they decided to go through with this change, which I don't necessarily disagree with. I just felt like it should have been met with some nerfs as well, given the prevalence that she had. They've then changed that kiss down to 1 second. So overall, from the point where she was absolutely insane, broken, almost, it's just a 1 second net increase from that point to this point. You're going to be seeing a hell of a lot of Aphrodite play. And I wouldn't be surprised to see nerfs from her coming in the future, specifically rounds the cooldown of her ultimate, I believe, could be touched, because it's up far too often. Maybe a cooldown increase on Lovebirds. Damage decrease on back of just something. I wouldn't suggest all of them, because that would literally kill the character when she started to see viability again. But a couple of nerfs like those suggested would do the trick to put it in line more with some of the other healers who aren't seeing as much play. And just like that, that's going to do it for the tier list update. Thank you guys on YouTube so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next tier list update, which, as I said, will either be on the Thursday or the Friday, depending on what you guys vote for on the Twitter poll. So, catch you later. Okay, Anybody in the chat have